to me. This dude, Hollywood Brown, he's more like me. He's 5'9", I'm 5'10" for the record, but 170 pounds or so. Julio Jones, 6'3", 220. So maybe in the imagination you have the stature of Julio Jones, but in reality, that comparison feels weird to me.
Most 5'9" guys think they Julio Jones. I got the heart of somebody 6'4".
5'10".
And now, Mookie Betts. Red Sox have discussed the trade centered around Betts with the Padres. Per The Athletic, you in on the Red Sox trading Betts to the Padres?
I am out on this simply because, A, Mookie Betts is like the most popular player on the team. He might be the best player on the team. And the reason they don't want to keep him, though, is because of the luxury tax. They don't want to pay the penalty. And I do understand that, except for the fact that the Red Sox print money. You can afford him, you just don't want to.
Yeah, but are they going to do this thing this year where they have every excuse in the world to tear it down because they had to fire their manager right before the season? I mean, I feel like if they wanted to give Mookie Betts money and keep him long term, they would have done that already. They had this chance. He's on this 1-year deal now. If they're not going to keep him, then trade him. My thing is San Diego. So it's going to be you, Machado, and Mookie Betts down there looking around and being like, how come I ain't never heard of none of these other dudes?
Yeah, that is an issue. But if you're Mookie Betts, man, at some point, if they don't want you there, you probably don't want to be there either, I have to imagine.
Coming up next, Ed Ogeron gets paid.
At IBM, problems inspire us to push the world forward. That's why so many people work with us on everything from city traffic to ocean plastic. Smart loves problems. IBM, let's put smart to work. Visit IBM.com/smart to learn more.
It's the perfect time of year to make a step toward healthier habits. With Noom, you pick the goals that are right for you. Whether it's having more stamina to keep up with your busy life, being more in tune with your body's needs, or fitting into your favorite suit again. Noom personalizes a program to help you conquer your individual goals. Noom is based in psychology and teaches you why you do the things you do and empowers you and equips you with the tools you need to break bad habits and replace them with better ones. Noom doesn't tell you what to do and what not to do. It teaches you how to rework your thought process and make better decisions on your own. And Noom knows we are all strapped for time, so they only ask you to commit to 10 minutes a day for yourself. Noom is here to help you build a healthier, more sustainable lifestyle. What do you have to lose? Visit Noom.com/sports to start your trial today. That's Noom, NOOM.com/sports.
Dodgeball at the Pro Bowl.
Yo.
Jarvis Landry, he ain't dodging nothing.
No, the entire concept of the sport he rejects because he is so good. He's wearing receiver gloves, by the way.
I mean, he might wear them to the store for all I know. I like that trick, though. Jalen Smith tried to roll the ball and then throw it and hit him with the okie doke. But, I mean, since Jalen Smith ain't Baker Mayfield, he hit Jarvis Landry right where he wanted it.
Wow. Baker Mayfield's at home just being like, really? Really? You already laugh at all my commercials, and I'm completely irrelevant, but then I get that. Quote, it almost looks like they got their roster from the Olympic relay team and threw them all on the football field. Said Niners defensive coordinator Robert Saleh about the Chiefs offense. So, Bomani, do you see the Chiefs causing problems for the Niners defense in the Super Bowl?
I mean, when's the last time you saw them play against a defense where they did not cause them problems? San Francisco's defense this year was one of the two best in the league. Depending on how you feel about it, them or the Patriots. I watched the Chiefs play against the Patriots. They appear to cause those guys some problems. All those fast dudes, some of them little, some of them big, some just fast for their positions, but faster than the guys checking them. There's nothing you can really do to stop them from giving you some problems.
It is unfair to have that many guys that fast darting all around the field. It's even more unfair to have a quarterback who can do stuff like that and just throw it wherever he wants. If you're the Niners, though, what you are hoping and praying for is that your front four can get pressure when it's just those guys. Because if they can get Nick Bosa and all of those dudes up front to get pressure and reduce the time that Pat Mahomes has to drop back and find them, that's the prayer they have to ask for.
No, and that is, I mean, beyond just like being the best chance, it's not terribly unlikely. Like, the Chiefs have a good offensive line. In fact, they're like top 10 in the league in spending on the offensive line. Like, they fortified that. Contrary to what you may know, did you know they have a former number one overall pick on that line? The most anonymous number one overall pick of all time. If they can hold up against San Francisco, they're good. Just trying to think of how many teams we've seen actually do that. And we have seen teams that have managed to do this. That Saints team managed to put up 45 points against them, for example. So somebody can get it done. But this is going to be so much fun because that's not just a good defense. It's a fun defense to watch. To have that against this rocket show that they got, yeah, I'm here for it.
No, we talked to our friend Dominique Foxworth about this. How, as a defensive back, do you deal with guys who are that fast? When Mecole Hardman, who I had no idea who he was before this season, is somehow just about as fast as Tyreek Hill, that's just absurd.
Quote, we have enough right now. Said LeBron James when asked if the Lakers are one piece away from cementing their championship contender status. Pablo with LeBron on that.
I am in with him on that because they have these two dudes who look like they're about to do the fusion dance together, and basically they have. They operate as one. And in this Nets game last night, we got a taste of what makes them so special, man. If you have Anthony Davis and LeBron, if you have a guy who can find Anthony Davis as he can across the court, LeBron James has been he's been as good at passing as anybody in the sport this year.
So, do they have enough? Who has enough, right? Because I don't know if there's any team that I look at right now and see their roster composition and be like, yeah, no, I'm sure these guys have enough in order to win a championship. There's a reason they've been talking about trading Kyle Kuzma, because that roster still has some holes that need to be filled. But go look everywhere else. Clippers don't have guys that are going to be able to make plays. I think the Bucks need another guy who can get his own shot. The Sixers have those guys at the top of their roster, but they don't have anybody that can go get their own shot. Miami, not really coming around to winning a championship on this one yet, right? So they may have enough because nobody else has enough. That could be good enough for them.
And you throw the Denver Nuggets in there, and the Denver Nuggets are suffering with a Jamal Murray problem. The guy has been so crazily subpar this year that you think, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Yeah, that happens to be the king. I think you're into instant gratification. I think kids nowadays, they want to go towards not the easier route, but the fastest route. Said Derek Jeter about MLB's decline in black players. So, Bo, is Jeter's reasoning right?
Did anybody follow this up? Whoever was in the room with, so what you trying to say? Because really, what are you trying to say? The rationale here, if you're going to say this, I think people want the easy route. That question was specifically about black people. So I can only take from that you are assuming that black people, vis-a-vis others, would prefer to have this easier route or prefer to go to the fame first and foremost. And I ask you, Derek Jeter, how the hell did you come up with that conclusion, and why are those people different than everybody else? This is wild problematic.
Yeah, that was my specific issue with this. Generally speaking, if he was describing just kids in general, it kind of makes sense. Or even just good athletes in general, it kind of makes sense, because what's not fun about baseball? Well, there's a lot, right? There's the fact that the sport, in comparison to the NFL and the NBA, is kind of on the downturn. But in terms of how you actually get to the highest levels, you gotta ride the bus. You got to get on a bus and make like minor league minimum wage salaries, and you're invisible until you get to the very peak of the profession. In the meantime, in college, you actually can become a star in those other sports in a way that any kid would like.
That's not what the issue is here, as far as I can tell. The bus that you got to get on after the fact isn't what's keeping people out. It's the minivans and SUVs you need to ride in with your buddies for your pay travel league that are keeping people out of this. The idea that he thinks this problem starts up at the end. What you think, a 12-year-old is like, yeah, I would love to play baseball, except I don't want to ride the bus in the minor leagues. That doesn't make any sense. All this other stuff we're talking about, no. They have priced people out of the game. We've seen so many studies, so many people who have talked about the fact that it just costs too damn much to play baseball. And by the way, the people who run baseball at the youth level aren't really that interested in having black people play their games. But here he is out here with, these cats just want to be stars as soon as they can. What is that?
No, none of this should be specific to the black experience. But what I would say about, like, what's it like to be 15 and wanting to play a future sport? If you can be on Instagram and super famous at age 18, baseball doesn't offer that.
White participation in baseball is increasing. We looked it up just before we got out here. Why? Because the access for those people remains the same. The issue here is access. And for him to have a job like he has and not be bright enough to know that, no wonder Marlins fans talk about him like that. Number is more than 42 million. That's how much Ed Ogeron's new 6-year extension with LSU is worth. Ogeron is 40-9 since taking over at LSU and is 11-1 in his last 12 games against top 10 opponents. Pablo, you expect him to be at LSU when the deal ends?
I do, and I hope he is. And by the way, on this contract, you could have told me he's making $10 million a year, $20 million a year. And given how good he has been and perfect he has fit at that school, I kind of would have nodded along in the first place.
I don't know if he'll be at LSU in 2026, but I feel pretty confident he'll still be in Baton Rouge. And if he's not the head coach, he'll be the governor. That's where he is at this point. He'll be the governor if he's not the football coach. Highly Questionable's coming up next. He's on it.
They're shirtless now.
And now another edition of Obvious News from Geico.
Obvious News!
Experts now say that wearing more clothes in the winter will, in fact, help you be warmer. We asked cold victim Trent Patterson about this, and here's what he said.
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing. I was a little cold, put on a sweater, then wasn't cold. I was like, what?
Also in obvious news, Geico makes it easy to save money and easy to reach them, with licensed agents available around the clock. So switching is a really smart decision. That's obvious news from Geico.
Obvious news.